I still am.
Right on.
Well, she loves me down there too, but you know, I love the old lady. So that's why I stick with a Canadian passport. And I'm very proud of that, as a matter of fact. And, but that's a heck of a long time to have a green card, though, isn't it? 31 years. Okay, and plus another 7 on top of that, the first green card that I had before I moved back to Toronto. Anyway, it's always a great pleasure. How many of you are at their very first Star Trek convention? Well, that's about 65%. Okay, how many have seen me for the very first time in person? Well, those who saw me yesterday and other times around, don't laugh at my jokes, okay? And the reason that we have jokes is because people ask questions. I whistle that I'm just laughing at them, okay? No, you don't ask the proper questions, so I'm going to teach you how, okay? And so I'll ask a bunch of questions, and then I'll give the answers, and that way that you get to understand how to ask a question. It's like a little lesson I put you through, okay? So the first question is that when people look through the diagrams of the Enterprise, and they check it out, and they get their magnifying glasses out, and everything else, they say, there are no toilets. You must understand, of course, that we do have phasers. And you set them on disintegrate and aim very carefully. Okay? The next question that a lot of people ask is, what would I do if I were captain? Well, the first thing I would do would be to limit Ensign Kirk to 1 girl every 5 years. That really got boring, you know, and everything else. I thought we were science fiction, not science future woman and all that sort of stuff. It became looking at Captain Kirk's love stories. And anyway, Chekhov would never be allowed to scream again. He was getting too good at it. And when we read number 6 for the first time, everybody applauded at the end, saying, well, thank God there is no part for Chekhov to scream. So that's good. Bones would never be allowed to say, he's dead, Jim. Because, you know, he's not telling the truth anyway, you know. I mean, all he has to do is take that little salt and pepper shaker and sprinkle it over, you know, and because I've been dead twice, and they sprinkled me over, and all of a sudden you say, what? You wake up, and you haven't been dead. Marvelous, isn't it? What salt and pepper will do. Anyway, we would hire some writers to give Uhura some other lines other than hailing frequencies open, sir. She deserves better than that. And not only that, she loves me. Although our love affair, I think, has stopped in Star Trek V. It just is not carried on in 6 at all. Anyway, it was just too bad. But we still do a lot of hugging. Okay? So, anyway, Sulu would never be allowed to carry arms. You don't know George like I know George. George does things, you know, with a sword and all this sort of stuff, but it takes 30 takes, right? And they shoot the victim a lot of times, you know, rather than him. Anyway, but if you ever went hunting with George, you would find him, his shotgun. You'll be walking along beside him, and you'd find his shotgun right here all the time, right? Then he'd trip and you were gone. Don't ever go hunting with George. Okay? Mr. Spock would never, ever, 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 ever be allowed in my engine room. You know, it always used to bug me when he was one of the big stars, you see, and this guy, this engineer who built the ship, knows how everything works, and you know, can do anything, right? Right. Hey, for you, good. You got the idea. Anyway, we would get into trouble, and darned if they wouldn't send Mr. Spock down to the engine room. And there would be Scotty off in the corner saying, "Oh, gee, Mr. Spock, you're so marvelous. You know, all I have to do is hang around you for a little while, and I too will become a miracle worker." Okay? So, anyway, and the last time he was in my engine room, he died. Well, we just can't afford that. Because, he's one of the best directors we ever had, you know. Certainly a heck of a lot better than somebody I mentioned. All right. Okay, the next question that a lot of people ask is, how did I get the role of Scotty? Well, to cut a long story short, about 2 weeks before they were going to do the second pilot of Star Trek, my agent sent me to read for the part of a Scotland Yard inspector on a show called Burke's Law that had Gene Barry in the lead. Are any of you old enough to remember that? Oh, okay, fine. Anyway, I didn't get that part, but about 10 days later, the director of that called me and said, "Jimmy, I would like you to come do some of your accents for Star Trek." I said, "What's that?" No, he told me, and I said, "Well, what the heck?" Because in those days, if I got a chance to read for a part, I usually got the part 75% of the time. So the thing was to go and read, right? So I went down there, and they handed me one piece of the script, one page, and there was no part for an engineer there or anything else, you know. But I did 7 or 8 different accents. And at the end, Gene Roddenberry said to me, he said, "What accent do you like?" I said, "Well, in my experience, it is better if he were a Scotsman, because in my experience, Scotsmen are great engineers." So he said, "Well, we rather like that one too." And I jumped right in and I said, "Well, we'll call him Montgomery Scott." And without thinking about it, I was naming him after my maternal grandfather, because I'm named after him. His name was James Montgomery. That's my name, James Montgomery Doohan. So there you are. I'm the only character who ever named his own character. Because Gene Roddenberry rather liked that idea too. He thought Montgomery Scott was an awfully good name for the character. Anywho, supposing though, that when Captain Kirk calls down to engineering and says, "Give me warp 12," instead of hearing the familiar, "But, Captain, my engines just can't take warp 12." Instead of hearing that, you hear, "See?" Or you hear, "Oi, gee, that is this warp 12 business. Hey, I can give you 2 6s. Let's see now. What 12? What 12? No, never heard of it. Oh, no, wait a minute. I remember now. Yeah, it was a Scotsman that told me. Yeah, he says, what do you do? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they said you take these dilithium crystals and you kind of stroke them a little bit and they kind of seem to get a little stronger and everything else. And maybe that'll work, but I tell you, before I work, I want to finish my
before I'll give you a warp 12.
But my favorite though is Reggie, and he would answer the captain something like this. I'm terribly sorry, sir, but I can't seem to get the little buggers to move any faster. I think you came and you passed A1 so you could all stay. Okay, you don't have to go anywhere. Now, but it's your turn to ask questions. You have a hand ready? Yes, sir.
Have you been offered any other roles?
Have I been offered any other roles? That is the curse of typecasting. It's just about deadly. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, sometimes one producer, they come along and say, the only actor I want is Jimmy Doohan, and if he wants me to be a Chinaman, then I'll get rid of the typecasting. Okay? That's the way. Yes, ma'am. And then...
Okay. Have you any interest or heard any interest in getting you into the next generation?
To tell you, I don't want to be in the next generation. I don't want to look that old. But a lot of people keep asking that question and talking about it. I don't ever think that we will get together. I think putting DeForest Kelly in there, but boy, didn't he look awful. You know, that's terrible. Anyway, but they are doing a great job. I can't say the great job was done in the first year, but they've since become pretty darn good. And they're probably the best science fiction you're going to see on television over the next 15 years. Okay? Good. How often am I bugged with beam me up, Scotty? I don't call it being bugged at all. Right? Hey, it's not monotonous, you know? And people say it in a loving way, and they shout it across the freeway, 4 lanes, 70 miles an hour, you know. Hey, Scotty! Yes.
How did you really feel about Star Trek V and William Shatner's director?
To tell you the honest truth, I really did not like Star Trek V, and I'm sorry that I even hit my head on a beam. How do I stay so young looking? How old do you think I am? Anyway, I have 6 children, 7 grandchildren. So, hey, you know, it's, no, I have always looked younger than my age. I'm 71. Wait a minute. I thought you were just going to ask me if I had any plans for making another child. Do I think that I will be doing another Knight Rider? How many caught that show? Yeah. I have no idea. If they do another one, I think I should tell my agent, get me in on that show, and I'll play James Doohan again. Okay? the character named James Doohan, right? Then you, and then you. Yeah, I had a bit of a problem with my throat way last December, or actually October, November, December, and I finally went to a throat doctor, and he looked down my throat with a television camera, you know, one of those tiny little needle things. He looks down my throat and he sees that my vocal cord, or my left vocal cord, has got some white on it. And he was scared stiff, you know, because he thought it was cancer. And I was scared stiff because he was scared stiff. Because he's probably the best in the whole of the United States at that job. And he says, I have to operate right away. And so I called up my producer, Ralph Winter. I said, Ralph, I told him what the problem was. And I said, can I pre-record all my lines? And he said, sure. Isn't that nice of him? So he arranged, on a Monday, he arranged a recording session for me. And I did it. Tuesday, I went into operating. And I went to see the doctor the following Friday. And he took the television camera down there again. He didn't get it all. He said, well, he says, let's wait and see. So I had to wait 3 weeks. 3 weeks, it wasn't there anymore. Okay, isn't that neat? And it was also not cancer. No, that's cancer. You and then that lady.
I was going to ask you about that Knight Rider 2000 movie you did. How did you feel about playing yourself in the future? I think it was the turn of the century. I don't remember, I think you were drunk or something and you were still living in your Star Trek fantasy or something. How did you feel about making fun of yourself?
Oh, you don't remember the lines. The guy said, they stunned me. You know, they thought I was robbing an ATM, right? And they stunned me when I got to my car and my $10,000 that was in my hand just flew out down the street and everything. And they pulled me out like that, and one guy said, hey, that's James Doohan. He plays Scotty on Star Trek. He just finished his 10th Star Trek movie. So anyway, that's sort of mine. But I'm like this, and I'm sort of stunned, and I'm saying, Captain, they must have put the phasers on stun. So I'm stunned through the whole thing, and then I asked for somebody else to beam me up. But yes, ma'am.
What I was wondering is, on the one old Star Trek I saw you with, there was some girl who was invaded by some alien force and you had a relationship with her. How come they didn't give you more of those roles? You seem to play that role very well.
Thank you, dear. Well, I know Bill Shatner always liked those roles, dear. That's why he got them. Okay? He was the big star. Yes, sir. And then you, ma'am. You.
How many different accents can you do?
How many different accents can I do? I tell you, all I have to do is hear it, and I can imitate it. Okay? I don't know. You want to give me an accent on a tape? Then I'll learn that accent, and I will learn it, and I will learn it perfectly. Yes, sir.
Out of all the episodes you've done, which one did you enjoy the most?
Of the which ones?
Which episode?
Oh, which episodes did I enjoy the most? Or which episodes do I think were the best ones? There's a lot of enjoyment in playing The Trouble with Tribbles. That was rather fun. But I think our best episode, to me, anyway, because it was read in more scientific terms, was The Doomsday Machine. And also, in movies, number 4 was a lot of fun, but I still think our best was The Wrath of Khan. And wait till you see number 6. Hey, listen, we're going to forget all about 5. No, number 6 is picture down, you'll see it right down to there. You know? And it's moving, it moves so fast. There are about 15 Klingons in the picture. There are Romulans. There are Vulcans. There are people from the seaweed planet, which have really terrific makeup. And the joke that was going around one day that I said was that these maidens from the seaweed planet with their long, silvery, stringy, curly hair, which goes down, and they have a mask under their hair and everything else. I say, when they arise up out of the seaweed, they say, "Kelp! Kelp!" All right. Yes, sir. Oh, wait a minute. Who did I say was next?
Over here. Over here, down here.
Right back here. Oh, no, you. In the blue shirt. Then that man over there. And then you.
I once saw an old black and white Francis Goes to West Point, and it had a bit part with Leonard Nimoy in it. And I once saw you in a bit part, and you were in some sort of another black and white movie. You're a lawyer or something. Can you tell us something more about your early career, something that you did that we can look for?
Well, actually, I started out live television in New York in 1948. The very first week of television, I was acting on the Tuesday of that week. Okay? I did about 45 to 50 shows live. And in 1952, I came home for Christmas to London, Ontario. My mother was in the hospital. On the way back to New York, I stopped off the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation that just 2 or 3 weeks before had started television. Okay? I walked into their offices. Here was an experienced live actor who does live television parts. And I walked out of there after 2 hours with 6 months' work. I dashed down to New York, packed up with stuff, came back to Toronto, didn't even just threw stuff into a rooming house and went and did an hour radio show. I wasn't there 2 weeks before I had a year and a half's work, including a 52-week episode of a show called Space Command. All right. 1954. How many of you remember Flight into Danger? About 1 or 2 or 3. Flight into Danger was the greatest show of 1954. The CBC still remembers it, going back into, they always have Flight into Danger there. I had the lead in that. I had the lead in 3 out of the first 4 scripts that Arthur Haley ever wrote. And I did everything there was to do, and from then on to the end of 1961, I was known as Canada's busiest actor. Is this boring you? And there's no doubt about it, I was busy. I was busy anywhere from 7 to 10 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. I did 4,000 radio shows in that time, 400 live television shows. And then the CBC started to go downhill and not do a few contracts. You know, CTV came in, and around that time, and the CBC even let them get away with the football. I figured, I said, oh, something's happening here. You know, I better go someplace. Would I go back to New York? Why would I go to New York when everybody was leaving New York and going out to Hollywood? Would I go to London? I'd love to have gone to London. But you know, the transatlantic flights weren't too good then. They're also very, very, very expensive. And I could drive to Hollywood, which is what I did. You're looking at a guy who has driven 29 times across the country. Once from Los Angeles through to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and back again. Okay? I've done countless things. I'm a very happy actor because I'm usually working, except for being typecast as a Scotsman. And but 1973 or 4, a great friend of mine told me, he said, Jimmy, because I was worried, because I was not getting any work after 1971. And he said, Jimmy, he says, you're going to be Scotty long after you're dead. So he says, you better go with the flow. And so I took his good advice, and from that day on, I've been very happy about it. Okay?
Okay.
What hobbies do I have? Woodworking is one of them. But I haven't been able to do that for the past 12, 13 years. Because I moved into a new house, which we hate. And we're going to be moving up into Washington State, which is up close to Vancouver. Okay? Somewhere around Christmas time, maybe. And where I'll even do my other hobby a lot, fishing. Okay? I used to, for about 10 years, I used to spend 2 weeks around Labor Day weekend up at Lake Temagami. Everybody know where Lake Temagami is? A lot of people. Okay. Right here. This striped shirt's all over the camera.
During the original series, it looked as though by watching all the episodes that it was fun to film and that everyone got along very well together. And I was wondering whether that was really truly the case in real life, and whether that changed throughout after the long period and during the movie.
Most of us really get along terribly well together. You know, there's only one person that we don't get along with, but you know, you have to figure that out.
Was it fun to film during the original?
Oh, yes, we enjoyed ourselves. We really did. The series was very hard work, and whereas it's different with the films. You know, the films, the screen, of course, is big, if not bigger, than the back end of this room, and they take much longer time. So you're called at 7 o'clock in the morning. You may not work till 3 o'clock in the afternoon because of the lighting problems and other problems that they'll have, because they can't allow for any mistakes. And they get rid of all those mistakes before they start shooting film. But consequently, we're well rehearsed, and we don't get much of a chance to do a blooper. You know, mostly we do one take. Sometimes, like when I hit my head on the beam there, the first 2 times, I was too fast for the camera, and the first 3 times I was too fast for the camera, and then we did it twice more. Once it was perfect, and the next time was just an insurance shot. Okay, but five takes was more than you would ever even could possibly think of for doing a motion picture. Okay, yes, son.
In Star Trek: The Next Generation, who do you think relates the most to your character?
Say again.
In Star Trek: The Next Generation, who do you think relates the most to your character?
I thought I already answered that question, didn't I? Would I be willing to do a Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Who do you think is like your character in the old series?
They now have an Irishman in there, right? Or is he a Scotsman? You're talking about the engineer, right?
Just anyone.
Come on up here. No, I mean, it's very hard for me to hear now unless it's one-on-one. Come here, come here.
Okay.
Hold it. Right up here.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Who do you think relates the most to your character, like in the old series, and Star Trek: The Next Generation? Like, would it be like Data that's most like you, or someone else?
Tell you the truth, I really can't answer that question because I haven't watched that many of them. I only maybe get a chance to watch 10 minutes of them, so I really don't know about that. I'm very sorry about that, though. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. that I have done other than the Star Trek movie. Let's see, what? I think it was probably the first movie that I did in Hollywood. It was called The Wheeler Dealers. With,
James Gardner.
oh dear, what's his name?
James
I
Gardner?
like that. I'll think of it. He's a great guy. I liked him very much. Anyway, I'll think of it again. I'll never forget what's his face, yeah. Right. Okay, yes sir.
When you were doing the series originally, did the series writers prefer working just as an ensemble, or did you like having guest actors come in?
Oh, we like to have guest actors come in, particularly all those pretty girls we used to have come in. No, we like guest actors because hey, we had to have different. You have to, have something other than you have to have an enemy, or we have to have some baddies. Yeah, why not? Yes, speak up, please.
Who's your favorite Star Trek character aside from you?
My favorite Star Trek character besides myself is Spock. Okay? Yes, sir.
In Star Trek 2, there seemed to be there was a scene with you. It seemed to be kind of an inside joke. You had in the engine room, you said something like, "I had a week about son, but Dr. McCoy put me through." Was that an inside joke or something?
Well, that was the producer put in the fact that I was supposed to have had a heart attack. James Doohan was supposed to have had a heart attack 6 months before, right? It wasn't a heart attack at all. It was just acute indigestion, right? So that was what he thought he'd throw that in, Yes. Can't hear you. Come on up here, please. Got a good Irish shirt on. All right. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Some of us in Star Trek first came out with real criticism, but that whole cast really tore its own. So a lot of the science engineers don't want to thank you for that.
Well, it is absolutely one of the most marvelous things that I can hear is for someone to say that they went into engineering on account of me. Oh my God, it's just marvelous. Thank you.
In Star Trek 2, did you actually learn how to play the pipes Amazing Grace, or was that the...
No, but I fingered them beautifully. As a matter of fact, they had an old Scots Guards piper who had retired and lived in Los Angeles, and he was hired for 2 hours to teach me how the fingering and everything else, and also to record the Amazing Grace. And so we got with the pipe there, and he played it a couple of times, and then I did it a couple of times, and he says, "Oh, you got it." I said, "Fine, let's go to the pub." Okay, yes, sir.
Oh, yes. I was wondering, can you do a Caribbean accent?
Yeah, I can do any accent that I hear. I just don't. I've already put on an accent show, and I'm not going to do another one now. But believe me, my ear can do any accent I can hear. Okay? Yes, sir.
You get a lot of cameo offers?
I do get a lot of cameo offers. Yes, and that's fine. Except that usually they ask me, they want me to do a Scottish accent. At least when I was playing James Doohan, I was playing. He was James Doohan. He wasn't Scotty. Okay? Yes, dear. Have I what? The Star Trek cruise last month. Yeah, I've recovered from it, but boy, I'm telling you, that's nothing but hard work. Oh, the episode at Mexico City. Oh, God. No, it was at Cancun, and the guy just looked at our tickets, you know, and thought we were flying from on Mexicana Airlines to Mexico City, then flying home to Los Angeles on Delta Airlines, right? But what he did was he just put us all the way through on Mexicana Airlines. Well, we found that out, and George and I had to go out to the plane and find our luggage. George found his in the first 2 rows. I found mine and the other ones after they took it down about 5 or 6 more rows, and there it was being squashed down underneath, you know, at least that high of baggage, and unbelievable, you know. It was a problem, though. Back there, yes, sir.
Yes, I heard you were certainly in the Army before. Is that true?
Certainly. I spent 6 years and 2 months in World War II in the Royal Canadian Artillery. And I spent half of that, 5.5 years of that overseas. And also, I was in charge of LCA number 5 in D Company of the Winnipeg Rifles when we landed on D-Day. And I was number 1 off on Juno Beach. Yeah. We landed about 7:30. That's all going to be in my book, so you can read it all about it. I landed about 7:30, and I was wounded about 11:30 at night. So, anyway, yes, sir, way in the back. Was I decorated in World War II? No, other than just getting ordinary old medals. You know, ETO medals, European Theater of Operations, and all that sort of stuff. But the one thing they did to me is they taught me how to fly. And I loved it. And 2 years ago, coming October, we have a reunion of the air observation pilots, and I don't know whether he's still here or not. Is Claire here? Captain Claire? Oh dear, yeah, I guess they left. Okay, anyway, and they did not tell me in time, and I have to do the next one, miss the next one, and do it 2 years later. I'm confusing this, no. Unfortunately, I'm doing a convention in Edmonton during the time that they will be at the Westin Hotel down here. So that's really too bad, yes.
What do you think you would have done if you hadn't gone in there?
What do I think I would have done besides what I would have liked to have done, right? Okay, what I think I probably would have done, I would have gone into some kind of science field because I was very good at science in high school and mathematics. And, but the more I try to grow things, the more I really feel that I would enjoy myself more as a farmer. So, you know, I really, I'm good. Yes, sir.
I was wondering how much liberty you had with the development of the Scotty character.
My character was already developed as soon as I opened my mouth because I tell people, Scotty is 99% James Doohan and 1% accent. Okay? So whoever James Doohan is, that's the kind of character you get, believe it or not. Okay, yes? Can't hear you. Will you come on up, honey? Yes, sir.
Yes. On Star Trek 6, are we going to have a functional enterprise that we can be proud of?
As a matter of fact, there are very few things go wrong with my enterprise in Star Trek 6, you know, but I'm very busy doing all sorts of things. Okay? Yes, sir. Come on up here. Come on. Who knows? I may help you. You wouldn't want that, would you?
I'd like to see you again in your dress uniform with the kilt. Can you convince the producers?
As a matter of fact, you know, I really like wearing a kilt. You know, I look nice in a kilt. Thank you, Lassie. my knees, they love it, you know. Yes, sir.
I'd like to know how long you've been married, and is she a Canadian?
No, she's not a Canadian, but I've been married coming up 17 years, you know, and that's with my third wife. We're 17 years, and she is just the past year and a half been a helicopter pilot. So she's really, and she's good too. Yeah. No, I was looking for Claire there, and he's a helicopter pilot and a former AOP pilot and everything else, and he was here. I had lunch with him and his wife Ruth. And you're not here again, are you? No, they just said they only could spend a half an hour, so. All right. Is Bob here? Bob Lucci? Good. Oh, there he is. That's my good buddy, Bob Lucci, retired Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman. All right, yes, sir.
What advice would you have for anyone going into being an actor today?
To tell you the honest truth, any advice to anybody of going into the acting field is absolutely worthless. It really is. There is the only advice I can do, which would be a good advice for any field, is just make sure you know how to work and work hard, right? If you have something in front of you to do, then do it to the best of your ability, and don't be afraid to lose sleep over it. Okay? But to me, it is such a personal business that every bit of advice that I ever heard from anybody was not do me a damn bit of good. You just have to make your own way, and it's not easy. Like I said, yes? Come here, come on. Come on up here.
How many times did you save the Enterprise?
How many shows did we do? Okay? Does that answer it? I would say 79 times. Okay? Thank you. All right. Yes, sir.
Yes, I don't know if you can answer this question, borders on personal, but considering the sacrifices in your acting career and the fact that you're kind of locked into Scotty, has Star Trek at least made you comfortable?
Has Star Trek made me comfortable?
Yeah, you know, quotes. I don't want to.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. It's got me there, you know. And not only that, it's multiplied by this room times all the other people that I meet throughout the world who love me, and I love them. Hey, what more could I want?
Okay.
Okay? I mean, I have... I once autographed in Longview, Washington, the longest I have ever autographed. And seeing the love in your eyes, their eyes, and everything else, I autographed for 5 hours and 10 minutes with a 2-minute break for you know what. And I swear to you, it's just so easy to do. But lately, because of the crowds, I will not personalize because we're only at a limited amount of time, and I want to make sure that everybody gets something. So I'll autograph everything you have. But personalizing takes 3 to 4 times longer than anything else. So I just signed my name, but I can sign my name 5 times for the same length of time to do one personalization thing. Yes, ma'am.
Other than your 7 children and your grandchildren, do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have a brother in Sarnia. He has 1 son. I have a brother in London. He has 2 boys, 2 girls. And I have 7 grandchildren, 4 girls, 3 boys. Does that answer your question? Okay, fine, yes. The striped shirt.
Yes, I'm wondering, when is your birthday?
March 3rd. Yes. Yeah, you can send me a case of scotch if you want. Yes, dear. What would I grow on my farm? To tell you the honest truth, I think when I get up into Washington State, I'm going to go into hydroponics, and I'm going to grow vegetables and tomatoes, and I'm also going to. One of the very first things I'm going to do up there is to plant raspberry bushes. I think raspberry, other than strawberry, is the king of all fruits. Okay? Yes. Yes, sir.
How do you like living in the U.S. in comparison to Canada?
I make more money in the United States, but to tell you the honest truth, I really prefer living in Canada. That's the honest truth. That's I guess one of the reasons why we're moving out of Los Angeles and going up to Washington State, because we're getting a little closer to God's country. Yeah. Was one of my idols as a young actor no, just a minute, no, David Niven. Sir Ralph Richardson. The man, Wilford Lawson. You don't know him. He played in the original Pygmalion movie, the black and white movie of Shaw's Pygmalion, and he played the father of the girl, the Cockney girl. And oh man, he's something else, He's a real actor, that guy, Robert Newton. I love Robert Newton. Did you ever see him? No, you're probably too young. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, we've been told throughout the day that this is going to be the last, Star Trek 6 will be the last movie with the...
Let me tell you, Star Trek 6 is so good that it is going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars for Paramount. And if you think they're going to stop at 6, you got another thing coming.
So there'll be another...
That's their business. If they are stupid enough not to do a number 7, then they might as well go and jump in the, whatever.
But with the original crew.
Pardon?
With the original crew?
Certainly with the original crew. Hey, listen, we're going to go on forever. As I said, as the script said in, here comes the timer. Okay, as the script said in Knight Rider 2000, he just finished his 10th, right? Maybe from now on they'll start doing, 1992, we should start number 7, and then 1994, we should start number 8, etc., etc., etc. Hey, listen, you don't care how old we get. Why should Paramount? But you're the audience. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to take 2 more questions, and you're one of them.
Okay, what was it like working with Nick Meyer after?
Oh, Nicholas Meyer is a terrific guy to work for because, if you have any problem with the words, he can change them just like that. He's a terrific writer as well as a director. And it's just, it's great being with terrific talent like his. And he directed number 2, The Wrath of Khan. And this one, man, I'm telling you, he's there at every moment and he loves your work. And he shows it. Yes, sir. Who's the hardest?
Who's the hardest and who is the easiest to work with in the cast?
Well, I think Leonard is the easiest to work with. I think Bill is the hardest. Okay?
sky few and there are deep. Here stays and was like a sky few and there are deep. Nobody could possibly be as good as we are. To be that good, you'd have to be dead.
I can usually tell, but it's not, you know, it just... Okay. Thank you, James. So you're glad? Yep. Hi there. All right. Very well. Here. We're deciding your break. All right. Right around the corner. The line was down around. Atta boy. If you want. All right, I'll do it on the bottom. You can have the bottom. Okay. I'll probably do that. The only reason why we went back was a wedding going on. I'll check in with him. Okay. Thank you. How you doing today? I'm doing just fine. Great. All right. I heard you say something about waiting. Right. Hey, well, now I realize that Santa Claus had a lot of fun. Thank you. Hi there. How are you? Is this your mom? There we go. Thank you. Hi there. How's you?